joining us from Abuja. We are joined by two experts. First is Sam Amadi. He's Executive Director of the Abuja School of Social and Political Thoughts. Also joining us is Onyekpere, who is a social justice advocate. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you for coming on. Let me start with you, Mr. Amadi. What should be Nigeria's main objectives at the 2026 World Economic Forum in Davos with the opening of the Nigeria House and also with the plans that were just reiterated there by I saw from the government official there? Do you see us in line with what is important at this time when it comes to our economy?
I don't know what is Nigeria's plan, but maybe we'll see what it should be. But again, look, these are routine things. We've been attending Davos, or every government goes to Davos. I don't know the level of contingent delegation going. Used to, even under President Kashim, the president ministers, World Economic Forum. It sounds big, but over the years it has become maybe what I call the intellectual chattering class of the world economy. They come there, American presidents sometimes come, and they pick on an issue and talk about how, perhaps the world economy is shifting, changing, some policy issues that have to prioritize, maybe lament about what's not working, and then get the global capital of industries talk about what should work. But again, my view has been this, that all economies that want to grow, like our economy, should somehow mentally decouple from the global economy and focus a lot on national economy and focus from the lens of competitive advantage and competitive advantage. So primarily, if we're going to go to Davos, sometimes we say we want to showcase Nigeria's economic reform. Perhaps we want to, the Minister of Trade and Investment has talked about the four major aspects, maybe digital technology, agriculture, the things that perhaps we think Nigeria wants to build this economic resilience and buoyancy upon. My view has always been that, look, you get a lot more mileage, perhaps sitting at home, calibrating, designing policies, and doing strategic engagement with investors, if you like, and maybe countries sign up economic partnership agreements based on clear understanding about what you need and where you're going to. I'll give you an example, Korea. We said with India. Each of those economies grew or developed sustainably, not because of these conferences, but because the leaders had clear thinking and they could do the research and locate companies in developed economies they want to match make and engage them in a more structural way. So it don't have to be Davos really to get that going, but it's good to be visible, to attend these events and circulate around, and maybe hopefully you get noticed and something good may come afterwards. So that's the best I can put on it. Yeah, it's good to be there, but look, don't get deceived. That's not what makes the economy. That's not where what brings investment. It's always about your policy, always about your proposals, and how strategically you target, locate, link, and process partnership with either companies or countries where you need to leverage to get a competitive advantage going.
Right. Let me come to you, Mr. Onyekpere, and just ask. I mean, we know that the Vice President will be the one who would launch the Nigeria House, officially open the Nigeria House, and also be presenting all of this, showcasing all of these opportunities that is sort of aligned with our goal, the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. But you also align with Dr. Amadi here, saying that, this has been done before. What really happens is all about policy and ease of doing business. Do you agree?
How many international meetings you attended and the photo ops you had with world leaders is about what you do at home in terms of your policies, how well you implement them, how you're able to have a convergence between your fiscal and monetary policy, your trade policy, your policy on industrialization, education, and technology. And if you're able to get these things right, investors will come. You don't simply need to go and attend every other meeting. And of course, how you secure your country, if all the news that comes out of your country is about kidnappings, murder, killings, rape, nobody would like to come to your country. Everybody will be on his guard. So in essence, if you look at, for instance, the 2026 budget in those critical sectors they mentioned, like agriculture, solid minerals, you will simply discover that you have nebulous phrases without locations, which they've been doing every other year. And at the end of the year, you ask yourself, where has this money been invested? If you don't have the right enabling environment at home, and since 2023, not even one single megawatt of electricity has been added to the national grid. Rather, we've had a depreciation of the megawatts available. How do you expect investors to come? So these are the critical issues. Yes, go for your photo ops, commission your houses, speak English, take your ESTA codes, but it doesn't change anything at home. So I am not personally expecting anything concrete out of this, because this is not the first time, like Dr. Sam pointed out. And even previous presidents like Obasanjo had even done more strategic tours, but we hardly got much out of it. So it's a continuation of the norm of the way we go about it in Nigeria.
So, Dr. Sam Amadi, you will agree that there are the industries that are being prioritized in this Davos starting today. One of them is our mineral resources, the Ministry of Mineral Resources, our solid minerals, and the other is agriculture, climate smart agriculture. There's also enough that, or more, should I say, or concerted efforts that this administration is doing regarding clean energy and renewable energy, CNG and the likes. Don't you think those are priorities for global investors? Don't you think that those are sectors that global investors might want to invest in spite of the headlines that comes out of Nigeria?
And so how you look at it, of course, investors don't care about their country being stable. They just care that enough stability for them to extract. It depends on what they're looking at. So, for example, let's take clean energy. Nigeria has no smart development strategy. Clean energy, the climate change issues. What we probably need to focus more is real energy in terms of, like Ezra has pointed out, Onyekpere has pointed out. You have growing frequency of outages. You don't even have generation capacity. So it's fancy. It's okay. Green Nigeria, clean energy. Nigeria has potential for energy supply. But again, the investors also are doing their real back of envelope calculation, looking at capacity to pay, looking at the regulatory framework, and asking themselves, okay, fine, Nigeria needs clean energy, but if we're going to put in 1,000 megawatts of solar or whatever non-fossil fuel energy, electricity in the country, how long will it take me to do that? Who's going to pay? What's the grid reliability? Do I trust the Nigerian government, the undertakings? Say, okay, we're going to ramp up grid reliability to enable you evacuate your power. So, yes, those areas may be strategic. Or take, for example, solid mineral. I mean, the Nigerian government talks about investing so much on solid mineral, and the argument about value addition, so that we're not just another scramble for partition. The Chinese are here, everybody is exploring, but are we really maximizing the value? To think around learning, for example, how are you building a technology innovation system to be a country where instead of exporting and creating a dark trade around those precious natural earth resources, earth minerals, you are actually creating industrial clusters where you can at least semi-manufacture before you export. So it enhances your earning. So I think that, look, there is a lack of deep development strategy thinking around all these issues. Yes, there are fancy words that, aligns with some of the thematic focus of Davos. But again, from my own experience, I've also been part of government work at the foreign affairs. If you attend most of these things, after the Nigerian make their speeches, you see that there are very few top companies that are going to follow through, because they can read through and see the other countries will come, will replan with strategy, with processes, and addressing the real thing that investors want to hear. Then they know that Nigeria perhaps, this is just some rhetoric, but in reality, you may not drive the deal. So yes, these are very wonderful areas to focus on, solid mineral, clean energy, and all that alternative agriculture. The real question is, do you have bankable proposals? And do those proposals tie into a business environment and policy environment and human capital development environment and technology innovation environment that can outcompete some other African, Asian countries where these global investors have opportunities to also go to. That's really the point.
So one of the issues that you raised, or concerns that you raised, Mr. Onyekpere, was security, right? And also food insecurity, and also inflation as well. And there's also the matter of infrastructure. Do you think Nigeria will address these global concerns, or these concerns that investors might have? And if they will address it, how will they do it? How do you preempt they would address it?
Okay, if you have a 4-year tenure and you're almost on your 3rd year, you've not started addressing issues like electricity, I don't know how it's going to be done. Indeed, these sectors they raise, what will tell you the expectation of government is if you look at the fiscal policy and the budget. For instance, over the years, I've been of the firm view that we are throwing away good money, chasing money that will never come in the solid mineral sector. Go and look at the budget and the MTF. Okay, in this year, we are going to spend about close to 50 billion in that sector for capital projects. But what are we expecting in return from the proposal? We're expecting under 30 billion, okay? From next year, we're expecting lower, and by the upper year, by 2028, we're expecting 13 billion naira, which shows you that even the projection of about 30 in 2026 cannot be realistic if over the years you're expecting it to be getting down. So if you are going to showcase a sector where you are putting in 50 billion in capital expenditure and you're expecting less than 30, what does that tell you? That you don't even believe that the sector is growing and you are not putting in much effort. The little money that they allocate to that sector, instead of using it in investments that can attract real investors in terms of creating that environment, a good chunk of it is just going to administrative capital, purchase of cars, purchase of computers, office equipments that don't go actually to help the sector to progress. So in essence, if you look at the power sector, even the push for renewable energy, the budget is suffused with solar panels, solar electrification, but how do you establish a single plant that can manufacture solar panels in Nigeria? If you go to water resources, National Rural Electrification Commission, Ministry of Power, Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Works, constituency projects, solar energy is close to 50% of their budgets. But how are we simply going to continue importing and expect we are going to make progress? Just like Sam said, there's no strategic plan that links these things up. And I also keep questioning, why are we still investing so much in distribution after privatizing these resources? And as soon as we buy these distribution materials, the discos end up and start collecting tariffs. So government is investing, they're not investing, and they're collecting tariffs. So we must reconcile a lot of things for us to understand where we are going. They're simply taking us like people on a night bus. They don't even know where they're going. Those of us being carried along are confused because we can only see darkness. There's no light we are seeing at the end of the tunnel.
All right. Gentlemen, I must say thank you. I wish we could continue with this discussion. I would have thrown that question to Dr. Sam Amadi, who was a past chairman of the Nigeria NARC, if I'm correct, which is the Electricity Regulatory Board.
Yes. I think it's correct. I agree with you. So
I've been prompted that we have 30 seconds, so you can continue with your comments, sir.
No. What as they said is very clear, and that's true. That's my view. That look, even in the sector where I worked, you see, development is a managerial art. You have to align everything. You have to have a rational, single strategy. This is what we want to get at. So you go there and say, what do you need to put up? So if you want to, what's the plan for renewable energy? Okay, let's assume you want to make 30% in the next 5 years of 20 years of our energy mix to be renewable. What do you need to do? What needs to be done? So today, what we are doing is pandering to climate change movements across the world, and not really addressing renewable energy itself. So yes, you talk about climate change. That has a small component. That has the global policy side of it. The real point is energy, sustainable energy. Are you doing the infrastructure? Are you calibrating? Are you actually aligning in the way that if you produce X, you distribute to X or X plus 1, and you have capacity for X times 2? So the problem is that since we left NEC 2015, I'm not sure there's been a systematic improvement in the sector. You may have some, items. Maybe you say we'll move from capacity from 600 to add extra. But in reality, there's no structural improvement because there's no real plan that will follow through to say, this is the problems we are left with, and these are the issues that need to be addressed to get to A. So the first thing is create a redevelopment strategy based on diagnosis, based on where we want to get to, and based on what needs to be done to get there, and then you go back and review from time to time. We are still not at that level of coherence, and that's a real problem.
We're like that dog that keeps chasing his tail and going round and round in circles. Gentlemen, I have to say thank you for taking out the time to join us. Dr. Sam Amadi is Executive Director of the Abuja School of Social and Political Thought, as well as Mr. Onyekpere, who's a social justice advocate. Gentlemen, thank you once again.